I started doing workshops and doing groups where I'm getting up in front of others, like outside of the gym setting, and talking about resilience and perseverance and goal setting and vision and taking action.
You should know what 1 hour of your time is worth. You should know the value that you bring to the marketplace. You know what your passion is.
It starts with clarity of vision. If you don't have the clarity of vision, whatever next thing you get, you're not going to see it through because you don't have the clarity of vision. So the point of my pain was being told you will never run or jump again. And all that stuff, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be able to take this even bigger.
To know why you do what you do, you have to know how to charge for what you do. That's how you're going to change your life, and that's how you're going to leave a legacy for your children and your family. You got to know your worth.
Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rob, and I'm back with episode number 387 of Shut Up and Grind, where we're all about overcoming obstacles, defying the odds, and inspiring you to clear whatever's blocking the path to the success that you want in this lifetime. So before I dive in and bring my guest on, so yesterday I was a guest on 2 different podcasts, and both of them pretty much asked me this question. And for today's tip of the day, I want to share my answer here. And the question was, why do people get overcome with self-doubt? And the answer is because somewhere along the way, they forgot who they were, right? People end up attaching their identity to what they do, to their career choice, to being a parent. So it's like you got to strip away all of that stuff and get to who are you at your core. You take away all the hats. It's like, yes, I'm an author. Yes, I'm a podcast host. Yes, I'm a track and field coach. Yes, I manage a gym that you can see creeping through the green screen behind me here. All right, yes, those are all things that I do. But at my core, I'm a competitor. That's what I do. Everything that I face, I look at it through the lens of a competitor. Just right now, as I sit, I am only 3.5 weeks removed from knee replacement surgery. And I just left physical therapy earlier, and they said I am light years ahead of the average person. And why? Because going into that rehab, I told myself, as the competitor that I am, I'm going to defy all of the odds of this rehab, all of them. And all the milestones, I hit them all early. And why? Because I mentally prepared for it. I don't wait for life to give me permission to be who I am. I show up, whether it's on podcasts, whether it's on my own show, whether it's in person, whether I'm speaking in schools, whether I'm speaking to sports teams, it doesn't matter. I show up as me. I'm an athlete. I'm a gym owner. I show up in a tank top because this is me. I'm not showing up in a shirt and a tie. Being authentically you is the key to overcoming self-doubt. Okay? And with that, we're going to be talking today about learning beyond the lines. We got curiosity, courage, and creating your own path. And helping me have this conversation is Dr. Sheldon Greaves, a lifelong learner who chose an unconventional path after realizing traditional academia wasn't where he belonged. What followed wasn't a step backward, but a radical expansion. So now what does all of that mean? Well, let's ask him. Sheldon, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Where are you joining me from?
I am joining you from the buzzing metropolis of Albany, Oregon, population 60,000, former logging and rail hub with aspirations for greater things.
I love it. Aspirations for greater things. I love that. And what's the name of your furry friend there?
Furry friend here is Sophia. She's 17 and she likes to hang out on Zoom calls. So here we are.
I love it. She's not giving you all the attention at all.
No, not at all.
All right. So are you originally from Oregon or are you transplanted?
I'm originally from Oregon. Yes, I was raised in Salem, which is about 20 miles north of where we are now. Pretty much all my family is here, all my siblings, and my mother, who's 93 now. We're all here kind of up and down the I-5.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive into today's topic. But first, let's find out more about you. Who is Dr. Sheldon?
Dr. Sheldon is a relentlessly curious mind who thinks everybody ought to do more with their brain than they're probably doing.
I love it. And so,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I just kind of feel like there is this massive waste of potential and talent and intelligence and experience, and it's kind of my mission in life to see that gets harnessed and brought out and put to use.
Along those lines, this is in September. I spoke at a local high school here. I'm in Rhode Island. And as I'm talking to the students now, this is high school, right? So you're talking anywhere from like 14 to 18, somewhere in that ballpark. And I asked the students, "What is your hourly rate?" Right, and all of them were like, minimum wage, like $20 an hour. I was like, "You know what mine is?" I said, $2,000, and all of them were like, "Whoa." Right? I was like, "Cause you guys are letting the world decide what your worth is, instead of you decide what your worth is, and then you want to go into a field that makes you happy and that can pay you that rate."
Yeah.
So to your point, I think that's where the untapped potential comes, because in school, they're being programmed to join the workforce. Like,
that's right.
They're not being programmed to expand their horizon. So what is it about that drove you to that field?
Well, that's exactly the problem and that's not just true in high school. It's more and more happening at the university level too. I mean,
yes.
Years and years ago, you used to hear this wonderful old phrase, preparation for life. It wasn't just a career. You were going to find out who you were, develop your personal philosophy, figure out what was important to you, and then go out into the world and do stuff. But that's just not true anymore. And what makes it even worse is that if, like what I was doing, my field was ancient Near Eastern studies. So basically the Middle East, but all the ancient stuff. And when you get a degree in that, you're pretty much going to be in academia. You're going to be a teacher or some kind of like that. They expect you to specialize. You pick a lane and you stay in that lane and you don't go out of that lane. And because of the circumstances within which I got, I worked on and finished my degree, I realized there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that's just really, really interesting. And I don't want to cut myself off from that. And so when I finally did finish, I didn't go into academia. And boy, serendipity just dropped some wonderful stuff in my lap. And I'm frankly very grateful for it. And I was able to take advantage of it because it was in my head that there are other ways of doing things. And there are other ways, other paths, and you just have to be willing to grab those opportunities, or at least recognize them when they show up.
See, and people don't recognize them because they're so busy. Right? You talk to most people and they always, "Hey, how are you doing?" "Oh God, I'm just so busy." And and when you're busy like that, you don't see the opportunities. The opportunities are everywhere. Like, it grinds my gears when I hear people say there's no opportunities out there. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, there are people on TikTok who have no education and no talent, but have millions of followers. You know what I mean? And you're trying to tell me there's no opportunities? We live in the most opportune time of our lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, yeah. Yeah, one of the greatest opportunities that ever came to me was a direct result of my being mugged.
All right, let's dive into that.
So this was when we were in graduate school, my wife and I. Actually, that was kind of interesting too, because I wasn't the only one working on a PhD. My wife was as well. So that was an interesting challenge, putting two kids through college as a newly married couple. But one night I went out to grab some fish and chips from a local restaurant, went into a very, very bad part of town, got mugged, wasn't badly hurt, but I was mentally shaken. realized that my otherwise excellent education had some gaps, like how not to, get my ass kicked, that kind of thing. So I started looking around for, a place where I could, do something about that. I eventually found this school in San Jose, a funny little place, working out of a rented, warehouse in a barrio in South San Jose. It was called the International Institute for Professional Executive Protection. And basically they were training high threat level bodyguards, and as part of that, they were teaching this new, new to us, martial arts system that no one had ever heard of before, called Muay Thai. And
Yes.
the guy who was doing it, he was a champion Muay Thai fighter in Thailand, but he had also worked on a lot of other interesting stuff, including executive protection. So I think, after we graduate, I had heard about this place. I go there, I start training, and I really liked the place because when I asked, why don't I just go to the YMCA and take a karate class? He says, well, they teach it as a sport. We teach fighting as a job skill. I'm like, oh, dude, good answer. So this is going on for about a year. And, my instructor is, patiently working to help this middle-aged desk-bound academic wimp get in touch with his inner badass, and after about a year of this, we're taking a break, and I let slip that I have an advanced degree from Berkeley, and he perks up and he says, can I see you in my office? And I go, okay, usually that's not a good thing, but I figured, all right, let's find out. So I go in there and he says, I got this school here and we have these certificates that we hand out, for people who complete the course and so on. He says, but I've got bigger aspirations for this place. Is I want to take the school and I want to turn it into a full-fledged university and I want to branch out into intelligence and counterterrorism, and have, degree programs, bachelor's, master's, doctoral programs, but I need people with advanced degrees to help me. At the time I was working as a technical writer. He says, so we need people who can document stuff. And he says, and, I'm looking for people that I can bring on board to help get this thing going. And then he leans across the table, he looks me in the eye and he says, how would you like to co-found a university with me?
Wow.
And I'm just like, holy shit, So and I says, well, look, you got to understand something. I says, I think this is a great idea. This is a really interesting thing you're proposing here. But my knowledge of the intelligence world is basically that I've seen every episode of Get Smart, and he goes, and this is where he said something very interesting. He says, well, look, I'm not worried about that. He says, you keep showing up, you train hard, you listen to what I tell you to do, you follow instructions, you pay attention. I think you can do this. And long story short, he was right. It did end up creating the first private university that actually taught intelligence, tradecraft, counterterrorism, executive protection, all that sort of stuff. And this required us to get creative and do things that no one had ever done before. But my God, it was fun. I mean, we were bringing in people from every alphabet soup agency you can imagine, a couple of foreign intelligence groups as well. And I got to learn about that world from people who actually practiced it, who were actually doing this stuff. And that's kind of, just the possibility of doing something like that would not have been open to me if I'd stayed in academia. If I'd been in academia and he had made that offer to me and I went to my tenure committee and said, hey, you know what? I just got this offer to help create a university for intelligence people. What do you think they would have said? Hell no. You're here to read clay tablets. You read clay tablets, that wouldn't have happened. So, opportunities, you have to put yourself in a position where you have the flexibility to take on an
Oh,
opportunity when it
oh,
arrives.
my phone's ringing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost the audio for a second there because I had the Bluetooth still on my phone.
Oh, okay.
All right, there we go. We're back now. But
Okay.
actually, I want to jump in quick too. So it's absolutely amazing that you were able to do that, and I want to circle back to that. But first, you mentioned being mentally hurt because
Yeah.
this show is all about overcoming the obstacles. So walk me through how you work through that.
Mostly it was a question of re-examining what put me in that position. How did I end up in a place where I was vulnerable? What, and then, of course, you replay the event over and over in your head, and you think, did I do the right thing? Did I, do the wrong thing? Would it have been any different if I had known 10 ways to kill somebody with a rolled up newspaper? And so, there's a lot of self-doubt and a lot of things that I just don't know the answer to. But eventually what it came down to was I got through it. I wasn't badly hurt. I still had my life. The money that I lost was like, a couple of Happy Meals worth, no big deal there. But starting to train with Normalia, with this instructor of mine, gave me a sense of strength. It gave me a sense of confidence, and it gave me the feeling that I have more control over what happens to me than I realized. And when I think back on it now, if the guy came up and said, give me your money, I would have just given him the money and laughed, and unless he did something stupid, in which case, I would have hurt him. So, that's just the way it goes. But at the same time, in a way, I'm kind of grateful that this guy kind of nudged me off of this path that I was on and showed me indirectly another way of doing things, another way of interacting with the world. The thing is, every experience that we acquire gives us something to apply to something else. So the lessons that I learned on the training floor, I have taken into conversations with other people, with approaching bureaucracies, dealing with difficult people. And sometimes it's a question of asserting myself, and sometimes it's a question of de-escalation. We learned that too. And they don't teach you that in graduate school, at least not the one I went to. So, it's the broader the base of experience and information that you have, the greater the number of tools you can pull out of that bag and use to work with on whatever problem you've got in front of you.
Love it. So you said a few things that I wrote down here. The first thing, I always talk about accountability, especially self accountability. And you said, what put me in that position? So people don't understand when you take ownership, then you're able to see possibilities and opportunities. Right? When you play in the blame game, then you can't see that. It's like,
right.
now it's like you're playing defense instead of being on offense. When you're in defense, everything is a challenge, everything is a problem, everything is stressful, everything makes you anxious, right? When you're on defense, when you switch and you play offense, that's a whole different ball game. And again, this is something I'm speaking from experience. Like, as I wear this shirt, I walked away from my fitness business, dropped the keys on the desk, right? I dropped the keys on the desk. I was in a situation that wasn't serving me anymore. And I walked away, right? I walked away, lost my house, lost my car, walked away from clients that had been with me for like 10 plus years. But I had to make that decision, and I had to take that setback, right? And for a minute there, right? I'm human. So for a minute there, I went down that rabbit hole of, I can't believe he did this to me. I can't believe things didn't change until this one day. This is going to sound cliche, but I'm brushing my teeth and I locked eyes with myself in the mirror.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, dude, you literally have a show called Shut Up and Grind. It's like, right? It's like, why are you sitting here wallowing in misery? Of like,
Mhm.
let's just get to work. And I started taking action, started coaching again, started training my fitness clients again, because I was actually going to pivot away and I was going to go into digital marketing.
Oh,
But
uh-huh.
but once I started coaching, that first practice back with those athletes,
Mhm.
and just the way it relit my soul on fire, I was like, this is where I belong. Like, I belong helping people. It's
Yeah.
like, yes, in digital marketing, yes, I can help people, market their businesses and stuff, but that didn't move me.
Yeah.
So I was able to get out of that place once I took accountability. It's like, why did you let it get that far? Right? It's like
Yeah.
you lost your house because you let it get that far. Right?
Mhm.
You lost your car because you let it get that far. And now, just today, at 4 o'clock today, I'm in an 8-week program where I'm going to be launching a speaking business that initial projections is going to do over $1 million in the first year. I went
Brilliant.
from losing everything to completely flipping the script. And it's
Nice.
not even about the money. It's the amount of people that I'm going to impact with this program and my mission to help people get over self-doubt.
Yeah, and that's another key that was true for me, and it clearly was true for you. Don't do it alone. You know,
Yes.
I mean, even if it's just people that you're helping, they're also helping you. You know, it's a two-way thing. I have a book that I recently published back in June about doing serious intellectual work when you don't have access to a university. It's called the Guerrilla Scholar's Handbook. And one of the things that I stress in there is um, not trying to do it by yourself. You know, the university works because you've got people working with each other. They're not individuals working alone. So create your own network, your own collegium, your own advisory board or network, or whatever you want to call it. But don't go it alone. You know, use the help that there are people out there who want to help you. Find
Yes.
those people and return the favor any way and every way that you can.
Absolutely. See, I tell people it's all about purpose. It's like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
you can't tell with the background, but I'm sitting in a gym right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And to your point, there's gyms you can go to for 10-20 bucks a month. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Ours is completely different because we guide you.
Hmm.
We guide you. We push you beyond your comfort zone. And it's the same thing in life. Like
Uh-huh.
with me, I'm very good in front of the camera. I know that I'm not good with the business side of business. All right. So that's why I joined this program
Mm-hmm.
to push me to get better in that end.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have everything that I need already lined out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not good with like the lead generation and the follow up, and so we're gonna set up a completely automated system so
Mm-hmm.
I can stay in my zone of genius. Like, people get stressed out is they try to master the things that they're not good at,
Yeah.
and other people would argue, well, that's a good thing to do. Like, not, like doing that part of it, it doesn't cause me joy.
No. No.
So I don't want to do it. I would rather give away some equity for somebody else to do it, and I can stay in front
Mm-hmm.
of the camera and do what I do best.
Yeah, a CEO that I once knew worked under. He used to call it outsourcing my incompetence.
Yes, I love
That was what a
that.
great phrase. There's a nice humility in there that I think is actually pretty healthy. So
Yes, I love it. So you said something earlier too that I think this is very huge and is powerful. I have more control over what happens to me.
yeah. Hmm.
Right? That's a powerful, powerful sentence, because there are people, like, even here in the gym, like people who complain about their job.
Hmm.
And I'm like, then why do you keep it?
Hmm.
Like, well, I gotta pay the bills. It's like,
Hmm.
figure out what lights your soul on fire, right? If you're not the entrepreneurial type, fine. I was like, if you are, then just start something that addresses that thing. Like, I
Hmm.
spent 20 years in the restaurant industry.
Oh,
It wasn't
wow.
until, yeah, it wasn't until I stepped into fitness where this whole new world opened up to me, kind of like how you were saying after your incident. This whole new world opened up. And I was
Right.
like, wow, like this is amazing. It's like, not knocking the restaurant industry, but I knew I wanted to do more than just serve food,
Right.
or just manage people serving food. It's like I didn't want that. It's about purpose. Like when people come here into the gym, it's not just about losing weight. It's not just about building muscle or running faster. It's about becoming a more confident, a more resilient version of yourself. Because our classes here are hard. Right? Like if you can get through an hour of this, you can get through anything out there in life, like literally anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's what's important. You push yourself and you discover things about yourself. You think, oh, I can do that after all. What do you know? I mean, that was something that happened to me. When I first started training at this gym. First day, the guy hands me a jump rope, and I'm thinking, oh no, 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 no. I just about walked away right there. But nope, I'm going to do it. And yeah, the first few weeks it was ugly. I mean, it was really ugly. I looked like I looked like a water balloon on crystal meth, trying to jump up and down. But eventually, you start to smooth out. You begin to, and you're thinking, I had no idea I could do this.
Yes.
And that's brilliant. And it's wonderful too, seeing that, in the intellectual sphere too, when someone suddenly realizes that, hey, they're learning to speak this language, or they're learning to do this kind of math, or write that kind of poetry, or whatever. And you get this kind of awakening, this like, wow, look at me, who knew? And that's for me, that's the real payoff, is watching someone have that,
Yes, I agree. There was a woman, I worked with her for 8 weeks. She was in this program called Social Enterprise Greenhouse, where they help like people in low income areas. They help them start a business. Like it's like a 12-week intensive. So they help them take their idea, start a business, and then at the end of the program, they pitch to investors. So where I helped, because I'm a storytelling coach, so where I helped was I helped people with their pitches. I helped them get their story together. So this woman that I worked with, she was petrified of public speaking. So I had to get it into her head. I'm like, you are not afraid of public speaking. You just don't publicly speak enough. Right? It's like I tell people here in the gym, you're only good at what you work on.
Yeah.
I said, so let's just work on getting you comfortable on camera. I said, don't worry about the ahs and the uhs. Just get used to showing up on camera and talking. At the end of the 8 weeks, it came time for her pitch. And when I tell you, it brought tears to my eyes. She absolutely nailed it. So just to illustrate your point, that's the real payoff. Even though that was a volunteer thing, but that's the payoff, is watching people go from I can't, I'm terrified, and she got up there and delivered a flawless pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is what I mean when I say that there's so much unrealized talent and competence. There's a quote that I love by Stephen Jay Gould, who's a naturalist, wrote some wonderful books on dinosaurs and evolution and whatever. And he said, he says, I am somehow less concerned with the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than I am with the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops.
Yep.
And that's kind of my mission. I want to go out and give these people the idea that maybe there is some idea, some talent, some body of knowledge that they can latch on to and do something with, change the world, or even if it's just their world, and change it and make it richer and more vibrant. So,
you know what's wild? Is that I tell people what you want to do
Mhm.
It's already in your head. It's already there. Like
Yeah.
when I was looking for an exit from the restaurant industry. Now I'm a college dropout. I
Mhm.
know I don't sound like one,
No,
but
you
I'm
don't.
a college dropout, right? So as I was leaving the restaurant industry or trying to leave, I'm trying to look at what are jobs I can do and
Mhm.
why. Because I too was conditioned by society. If you don't have a college degree, you're going to be pumping gas or flipping burgers, right? That's
Yeah.
what we heard back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And so I adopted that mindset. It's like if I leave the restaurant, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna go into like landscaping? Am I gonna go and just started thinking of all this other stuff? And it just came to me one day. Like I started getting gym equipment off of like Craigslist and yard sales and moving
Uh-huh.
sales. I just started getting gym equipment for myself. And then one day I was like, you know what? Let me just throw an ad out there and see if I'll train a couple people, make some side money. A couple years later, we're doing a ribbon cutting in a 5,000 square foot gym, a fitness
Wow.
training facility. Like that was never the dream. But as I said earlier,
Mhm.
remember as I started this, where I said, "Who are you at your core?" I'm an
Yeah.
athlete and I'm a competitor, and I
Mhm.
ended up falling right into a lane where I needed to be,
Yeah.
and here we are today, inspiring people around the globe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the funny thing. I mean, serendipity can sometimes take her time, but when she comes through big.
Yes,
And you just, follow that instinct, that little whisper that says, try this, but not that, you know. And what you did, I think, was really interesting. How it was almost like you were doing it before you realized you were doing it.
yes,
you know, and I see this a lot, with people. Uh, they they're interested in some particular things, uh like, maybe there's someone who picks up books on, I don't know, doing painting or something, and then one day they think, hey, you know what, I should take a painting class. Yeah, and they go,
mm,
hey, you know what, I like this. I'm not half bad at it. So it's weird. It's like you said, it's like your mind kind of knows where you can go before it tells you, openly, where to go.
yes,
It's
yeah.
just, I don't know. It's a funny thing, but there it is.
See, and that goes back to what we said earlier about opportunities, like what's possible.
Yeah,
Like people get so stuck on it is what it is. I'm like, no, it is what you're allowing it to be. Like
yeah.
you have to
Mhm.
open yourself up to possibilities. Like when I first got into this podcast space, the imposter syndrome was there. It's like, why are people going to listen to me? Right?
Mhm.
It's like, why? There's athletes, there's celebrities, like there's all these TV personalities. It's like, who's going to listen to me from small town Rhode Island?
Right.
And
Mhm.
I do this show 4 days a week. I'm booking it into September
Oh,
already.
wow.
I have probably 30 guest gigs coming up already for this year. And it's just unreal. And why? Because everybody is unique. Everybody has a unique story. And so
True.
when people that tune into this, it's like I'm on multiple platforms at once right now. But even when people tune in on the podcast platforms, it's just so surreal, and just hearing the
Mhm.
comments and hearing the feedback. It it really is. It's just amazing because people are hungry for knowledge,
Yeah.
but just they don't always just seek it. It's like once you seek it,
Mhm.
the the possibilities are endless, like literally.
Well, yeah, and you're talking about knowledge stuff too. Everyone thinks, you go to Google and that's it, but that's not true. There are resources out there that,
Yes.
I mean, just go have a chat with your local public library reference librarian and say, show me 5 things, sources of information that I probably have no idea exists. And if you're lucky, they'll probably stop at 10 or 11,
Yeah.
uh, and so, like, when I was at the university, we had a little seminar for high school students, to see if anyone wanted to be, uh, go into intelligence. and I was given a presentation on intelligence collection and analysis, and I says, okay, now I'm giving you an assignment, um, and the fate of the free world may depend on your answering this intelligence requirement. I was pumping it up. I says, okay, now here's the question: does the Kremlin have a swimming pool? Yeah, and they're kind of looking at me funny, and I said, okay, go find out. And so of course they all went to Google Earth, which was just coming online back then, and they spent
Yes.
the evening staring at satellite photos of the Kremlin looking for a swimming pool, and they come back, and we didn't find anything. I says, guys, it's Russia. Outdoor swimming pools, come on, the climate is not going to happen. Get creative, try something else. Well, long story short, finally some kid just picked up the phone, called the Russian consulate in San Francisco, and asked somebody, and that was what I wanted. I says, just get creative, do something else, try getting away from Google, and because there are so many ways to realize the possibilities that you feel inside yourself, and it's a shame that we don't make more of that. But that's that's how it happens. You get creative and you find your answers.
Yeah, like people will always say it's all in who you know. I'm like, no, it's all in who you ask. Right? It's who you ask. It's like whatever you ask, right? It's like whatever your aspirations are, share them. Like one of my personal training clients here, right? So I'm trying hard to get on the local TV here. Like I've been pitching all the TV stations. So this one day it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna drive down there and just ask to speak to a producer. So I drive down there, and then I get my feelings hurt because it's by appointment only. So I was like, crap, right? So I didn't get to see anyone. So I'm here, and I'm telling my PT client about that. He's like, I'm friends with 3 journalists.
Oh,
I was like, get out. I was like, seriously? He's like, yeah. And like one of them is a long time sportscaster who ironically interviewed me back in 2008. So he invited me to a Providence College basketball game where I got to meet him face to face. So now nothing has come of it yet, because with TV it's funny, it's all about what's in the news cycle.
right.
But I sent him all of my information, and he's like, I can't guarantee anything. He's like, but I can guarantee someone will look at your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just simply from putting it out there. It's like, who would have thought? Like, I didn't know he had connections like that. But if I just kept that to myself, I would have never have made that connection.
No, and that is such an important thing. It's not who you know, it's who you ask. And that is really, really good, because you're not gonna get anything if you don't ask for it.
Yes.
And find the people who can help you, and put the question to them. The other thing too is, like you were saying, just keep putting stuff out there. Not everything is going to come back, but something will, and sometimes something will come back in a way you didn't expect.
Yes.
And that can be a lot of fun too. And sometimes you have to kind of, how shall I say this? You have to be adaptable. You have to be able to say, "Oh, I didn't see that coming, but here's how I'm going to approach it."
Yeah, see, and that's and that right there is what keeps a lot of people stuck, because life hits them and then they crumble.
Yeah.
Right, they absolutely crumble. Like, it snowed. We got like 8 or 9 inches of snow on Saturday, and so fortunately I was able to make it home, because like this gym is 25 minutes from my house. In Rhode Island time, that's long. Because our state is this big, right? So, so anything over 10 minutes here is a nuisance, right? So I make it home, and then right when I get home, I have a flat tire, right? So when I bought my car, it didn't have a spare, and shame on me, because I've had the car for almost 3 years now. So shame on me for not getting a spare, right? So I'm like, crap, what am I gonna do? I'm like, I need to get this fixed. So we're in the middle of a snowstorm. So I call a place. I'm like, if I bring this tire down, I was like, can you repair it? Like, best case scenario is that it gets repaired. Worst case, I have to buy a new one. So I drive down there, and I get in there. It can't be repaired, and they don't have my tire in stock, right? So they're like, we can order it for you for Monday. I'm like, I have to work tomorrow. Like I need this done today.
Uh-huh.
So I just picked up the phone and started making phone calls. Now, do I want to drive in the snowstorm? No, but my tire needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I ended up finding a place that could do it. I went. Like this whole ordeal took a matter of hours because it was crazy just getting the tire off of the car. Right. And
Well,
so,
yeah, in a snowstorm.
right. And while I have it on the jack, I must have did something wrong because it ended up slipping off the jack. Like once I got back with the new tire, the car is on the ground. I'm like, crap. So I ended up calling AAA to come and lift it up so we can get the tire on. It took them almost 3 hours to get there.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, the job got done.
Yeah.
Right. The easier path would have been like, I can get somebody to cover my class on Sunday and I'll wait till Monday to get the tire. Like that. That's the easy answer. But no, like I needed it done that day and did what had to be done to get it done.
Yeah. And you got creative, and that was key,
Yes.
Yeah. For a long time, I used to help kids with their homework on AOL. I was an AOL homework assistant, whatever. And there was this one kid, this was back in the late 90s. And there was this one kid who was saying, I need to talk to, I need an answer to this question. I was trying to reach the reference librarian, in town. He was in LA. He says, but the library is closed. It closed at 6 and it's 6:05. I don't know what to do. And I says, okay, well, here's what you do. Call the reference librarian at the public library in Honolulu. They're 3 hours ahead. They're still open. Call them, and he's, oh, okay. I mean, long distance phone calls were more of a big deal back then,
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, just try something that, that maybe, try it, the worst that can happen is it won't work,
Yes.
So,
yes. I say that all the time. It's like people think that something not working is like the end of the world. Like it's not the end of the world. Like if you buy a lottery ticket, you're only out $2 if you don't win. Like it's not a big deal. If you try an investment and the investment doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work, but you tried.
Yeah.
It's like people always say to me, it's like, aren't you afraid of insert fear? I'm like, no. I'm like, no. Like I said, even with this knee rehab, the things that I'm doing, everybody in class is like, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, you are not my physical therapist. It's like my physical. I tell them the things that I'm doing, and if they think it's too much, they will tell me. But it's like I test the waters. Okay, I'm not ready for that yet. All right, this feels okay. And it's trial and error. But like I said, we're conditioned from school.
Yeah.
That you go in. You go to school, you go to college, you work till you're 75, you retire, and then you die. Like people are stuck in that life cycle, and they don't want to think outside of that, or they think like that life isn't for them. But it's like this one is. I don't want to work 60 hours a week and get paid for 40, like I was doing in the restaurant industry. I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? My goal, once my speaking business is fully launched, my goal is 25 hours a week. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah. And the fun part is going to be figuring out what you're going to be doing with, the other 15 hours that you're not having to work to make it 40, that's not a trivial thing.
No, nope, not at all. Like I still plan on staying here at the gym because when I started this, again, it was just for fun. You know how people always ask, like, would you do that job for free? I absolutely would. I mean, it's cool that I get paid for it, but like I would absolutely do this for free because people need to be pushed, and I am very good at pushing people. Because there are some trainers that I've witnessed in other places, like you're really letting this guy use 7-pound weights. You know what I mean? It's like, come on now, like push them out of their comfort zone. Like one of the ladies that does personal training with me, she started with someone else, and then she switched over to me. In that first session, she was like, you're kind of brutal. Right? I said, this is your first session. It's like, give your body a chance to adapt to the workload.
Mhm.
Right? I said to them, I'm not going to reduce the workload. We're going to increase your physical resilience. And so
Yeah.
now we fast forward. It's been 4 or 5 months now. She's down like 24 pounds and she's 63, right? She's down 24 pounds. Her
Excellent.
muscles popping everywhere. Her endurance is great. She had her physical and her doctor told her, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And
Mhm.
that's what it's about. That's the payoff right there. Having
Yeah.
her go from I can't to I can and having a clean bill of health. It's like, that's why I do what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned something else too about, starting a new venture or trying something different. And there's something that I tell people, when they're considering some uh, kind of project or whatever, and I ask them, um, will it still have been worth doing even if you fail?
Mm.
Because there are things that you can still learn from not getting what you want. I was on a project where it was a bunch of amateur scientists. We were involved in a contest to see which non-governmental organization could design, build, and launch a vehicle that could carry a 2-kilogram payload to an altitude of 200 kilometers. Now, just for comparison, the shuttle used to orbit at about 180, so it's way the heck out there. And we made a good effort at it. We actually did get a license from the FAA to go into outer space, but we didn't get the thing built and launched because the deadline for the contest passed, and other stuff. So yeah, that was a failure. But I learned so much through that experience. I also discovered that I had a flair for certain kinds of administrative work and logistics and stuff that I didn't realize I had. And it also prompted me to go take some classes in some fields that I never would have imagined myself doing before. And I still have that. I still have that knowledge that I got from that. That's mine. I've got it for keeps, So yeah, was it a failure? Well, yeah, but it was still worth it. So, you take the lessons where you find them, and you just carry them with you, because you'll need them somewhere down there, down along the road. So,
Yeah. So I spoke on a podcast that's geared towards grief yesterday. And we were talking about there's always golden nuggets, golden lessons, no matter what you go through. There's always a lesson left behind. If you can take your eyes off of what happened and focus on how what happened didn't break you.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about watching my dad pass away. That's like, if I just stay stuck on his last minute of life, like I'll never be able to move on from that, right? So it's like you got to focus on the second we left the hospital. That's where the story starts. It starts from there. Like, how did we pick up the pieces and move forward? And that's where you can find the inspiration in your story, instead of, oh, the woe is me, this is what happened to me. Like it says up above us, your true power lies in your story. And the more you share it, people are gonna resonate. And then your aura, your spirit is gonna draw in the people that need to hear what you have to say. And that's what people have to understand. People will say, I don't have a story. Like, everybody has a story. Everybody.
Oh yeah.
No,
it's true.
Said to you, like I said to you earlier, I don't vet the guests, right? It's like I knew nothing about you before you came in, right? And to be real, right? Had I did, I would have put doctor on there. Right? I didn't realize you had a PhD until it popped up on the screen here when I put you in the thread. You know what I mean? But the point is, it's like anyone that wants to be on the show, I let them in, unless they're like anything polarizing, like hardcore religious or hardcore political. Because like I don't want that. We want uplifting stories.
Well, yeah,
and I don't vet them, because everybody has a story. Everybody does. So, and once people realize that, going back to the possibilities and the opportunities, you'll be able to better see them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you talk about stories, and you mentioned, your father passing. A couple of years ago, my father passed away, and the the funny thing is, it's funny what you learn about somebody after they die, that you
Yeah.
didn't know while they were alive, and that kind of gives you a basis for thinking about them. For instance, I didn't know this. My dad loved to play basketball when he was a young man, and I
Mm.
learned after he died that he was on a community basketball team that hosted the visiting Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, nice.
My dad played against the Harlem Globetrotters. I had
Wow.
no idea. You
No
know?
kidding. How did that never come up at the family reunion?
Yeah, but then my dad was eccentric as hell. I mean, in his 70s, he was a huge punk rock fan. So go
Ah,
figure. But he also loved opera. So whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, these kinds of things, they're gateways, they're passageways, and I can carry that funny little factoid about my father and all the other things that I knew about him, and that informs my life now, and it gives me something to look back on and to draw strength from, and to frankly chuckle at a little bit, trying to imagine my dad keeping up with Meadowlark Lemon, uh,
yeah.
I think it's hilarious, but that's just me. uh,
That's great. All right, so we got about 9 minutes or so. So is there anything that you want to bring up that we haven't covered yet?
I think there's a fun story that I like to tell about opportunity. There was an attorney. His name was Michael Freed, and he used to Xerox articles that he would find on the web and bring home to his kids if he thought they'd be interesting. And he brought one home that talked about a study or a paper that someone had published, claiming that the stories about signs in stores and businesses saying no Irish need apply, that never happened,
Mm.
that wasn't a thing. And his daughter, Rebecca, she was, I think she was an eighth grader. She was about 14 anyway. She read this and she thought it was kind of curious. So she went online and she found an old newspaper database. And immediately she started finding photographs with pictures of businesses with no Irish need apply signs in the window. And she
Mm.
thought that was kind of weird. So she wrote a paper about that for her class. And then after she did that, she kept going on this and going on this. And long story short, she eventually contacted a retired scholar of immigration, and said, "There's this study over here, but then I've got all this stuff here. Have I got something?" And he said, "Yes, absolutely." So what he did was he helped her take her paper, her junior high school paper, and turn it into something that could be submitted for peer review. And it was eventually published in a peer reviewed
Wow.
journal and completely overturned this other thesis. So, this
Wow.
professional scholar had gotten his thesis blown out of the water by a 14-year-old, you know. So know, but she the way she conducted herself and the way that she went about this is just very instructive. And I talk about this, in my book, along with some other examples. But um, this idea that there are limits to what we can do because of our age, because of our background, because of what we know, who we don't know, the number of letters after our name. Um, it's no, it's not nearly as important as people think. And quite honestly, some of the really innovative, interesting, and groundbreaking thinking these days is not happening on university campuses. It's happening outside. And it's kind of my mission to get people thinking in interesting and unusual and innovative directions, because right now, okay, I like to say that I'm an elitist. And by that, I mean that we need elite thinkers in every corner and at every level of society. And I think the potential is there. It just has to be unlocked.
I love that. I love that. That's so true. It's like people are capable of way more than they think.
Hmm.
Way more. And once you can break free from
Hmm.
this from the societal conditioning, because like I said, once I broke free, I was like, this, I should have did this ages ago. Like literally ages ago.
Yeah.
But no, I thought with no degree, what am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you trap yourself in that box.
Yeah.
And then people always say, oh, well, you know, I never catch a break. Like, yeah, because a break's not coming to you. You have to go take the break.
Yeah.
Right? You have to take it. And once I decided, well, I shouldn't say I decided. I was kind of thrust into it because it was hard for me to walk away from the restaurant because getting that paycheck every Friday and the vacation time, the sick days, insurance, you know, like it was tough. So the people who are stuck in that rut, I feel you, man. I was there. But then I got fired from my job. So once I got fired, I was like, this is great. I don't have to do this anymore. Now I can just go full force with fitness. And one of the biggest myths out there, right? Just as a everyday worker, I thought making $100,000 was so foreign. That was just it's so far-fetched. It's out of my league. When we opened our gym in January, the goal was to hit 100K by December. We hit it in May.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
In May. You know, I was like, wow, completely opened up my mind to financial possibilities. You know, because we tie money to hours. Right?
Yeah.
Right. And so now being out there and helping people, you know, it's like some people are like, oh, well, you should just be doing that for free. I'm like, if Marlboro can get paid for giving people cancer, I should be able to be paid for giving people control of their own emotions, of you know, erasing the self-doubt, improving their self-esteem. Like that's something I shouldn't get paid for. When alcohol companies, right, are getting paid for getting people hooked on their product, right? Like that way of thinking makes no sense.
No.
I'm gonna throw it to you for some final words.
You know what? There's I guess when I started working on the book, you know, it was basically a love song to learning because learning is fun. It's what we do, you know. It's like I have never been more perplexed than when I see an educational product that says makes learning fun. You know, to me, that makes about as much sense as makes breathing fun, you know, because that's just who we are. It's what we do. You know, you're in the checkout line, you're perusing the tabloids or whatever, you know, we're always pulling in information. And I think because it's so natural for us, I agree with something an author, T.H. White, he wrote a novel called The Once and Future King, you know, about King Arthur. And in the story, Merlin the magician is giving advice to young Arthur who's having a bad day or whatever. And he says, the best thing for being sad is to learn something. That is the only thing that never fails. And it's just, you know, it's something that the mind, you know, can never exhaust, never be tortured by, never fear or distrust, and never dream of regretting. And I have found that to be so true. If you want to boost your day a bit, go learn something, you know. And nowadays, when education and expertise is kind of being stomped on in a lot of different ways, we need that. We need to reassert that, you know what, let's do it for pleasure, if nothing else.
Love that. So my take with education is, so people get a degree and then they just say, I'm educated. I'm like, you're educated in your field.
Right.
Right, in your field.
Exactly.
I can get up here and talk about personal development and I can talk about mental performance all day long. If you ask me to speak on your experience, right, I can't speak to that. You know, so to just simply say I'm educated, like that's such a broad statement that people don't realize. So that's just to highlight your point about always be learning. Even in the fitness industry, I don't know everything about this. There's athletic training, there's physical therapy, there's sports conditioning. Like there's so many different components to fitness. I don't know all of it. You know,
Yeah.
so to just say I'm a fitness professional, just ask me. It's like there's different levels. There's different levels. Like I don't know kinesiology like the back of my hand.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
yeah.
just know that I can get people to believe in themselves. Like
Yeah.
that's what I tell people. That's my superpower. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how many certifications I have. Like none of that stuff matters. I can
Mm-hmm.
get you to believe that you can run through a brick wall. It's like
Yeah.
that's my superpower. So
That's right.
all right.
Yeah.
So let's bring this down. I mean,
Okay.
you can add on to that if you want to, and then just
You
let
know,
people know where they can find you.
yeah, all I can add to that is, if you find if you find that you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes.
So take your ignorance and make it, shove it in people's faces and let them educate you. If you want to contact me or do see what I'm doing, I have a Substack called The Guerrilla Scholar. I'm also on Blue Sky, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And my book, The Guerrilla Scholar's Handbook, is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Thrift Books, and hopefully one of these days, your local bookstore. If you don't see it, ask for it. They can probably order it. It's available in hardcover, softcover, ebook, and audiobook. I think Google Play has it in audio. And, I would love to hear from members of your audience, if they're curious about what I do and how I do it. And I just want to thank you for having me on your show. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, this has been a great conversation. For those of you watching on Instagram, for whatever reason, Instagram lags behind. So those of you that have asked questions, I'm not 100% certain what you're referencing, just because there is probably like maybe a 10 to 15 second lag in that stream. I don't know why it's all going out at the same time, but so again, so those of you that I wasn't ignoring you, I just don't know what you were referring to. But anyways, Dr. Sheldon, thank you for joining. Like you can definitely come back. I do panels. Let me give you an example here. So like I bring back up to 6 of my former guests, and we take one topic. Like this one was embracing vulnerability, and we just take turns roundtabling that one topic, right? And you would think that the answers would get redundant, but so far I think I've done 17 panels, and it's just the insights that come out of these panels is absolutely amazing. So if you're interested in that, let me know, because I'm going to be doing one probably in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And I get the 6 guests first, and then I pick the topic, because I make sure I pick something that everybody can speak on.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in. I'm
Awesome.
totally happy to do that.
All right.
That sounds
Great.
like
All
fun.
right. Well, that's it for today. So again, thank you for joining, and I'm going to cue the outro.
Okay. Thank you, Robert.
You've been listening to Shut Up and Grind. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. Robert has over 20 years experience pouring his knowledge and expertise at many events in the service and fitness industry, as well as secondary schools and universities. He has a true passion for helping others break through the barriers that are holding them back. To book Robert B. Foster to speak or to reach out, go to robertbfoster.com. Till next time, shut up and grind.